All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, the biggest three mistakes I see from most guys and why most men never get below 20% body fat. Now, the real game starts when you get below 20% body fat, to be honest, or when you're trying to get below 20% body fat. Because a lot of people are like, man, I lost 50 pounds. That was easy, man. All I had to do was this, is that. Listen, 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 listen. Or I lost 100 pounds. If you lose more than 40 pounds and you're not at your goals, you are at a very high body fat percentage, which means you can, I always say this shit because I'm serious. Even with insulin resistance, you can still have some cookies and you're still going to lose fat because you have so much fat to lose. All right. Like I said, if I was 40% body fat, you know what I mean? If you gave me if you put me at 40% body fat with my current habits, I mean I'd be back at 10 pretty quickly because I'm just doing the same shit every day. Anyways, I'm just locked in, right? But if I was 40% body fat, I'd be like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna eat whatever I want to on the weekends and I'm still gonna be dropping 2% body fat per week because I just have so much fucking fat to lose. It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're not 20% or you're above 20%, you're currently in the easy phase because you just literally you don't have to be precise at all. Like I said, you just have to eat less shit because in order to get to 30-40%, you were eating so much, but like every day was a cheat day. So now you could only have 2 to 3 cheat days a week, and now you're still going to lose because you went from 7 cheat days to 2 to 3. And then once you get closer to 20, you might be like, okay, let me eat healthy every day, right? So then you start eating healthy every day, and then when you get to 20, it's like, okay, let me actually track my calories. You see what I'm saying? Now, a lot of you guys just don't understand nutrition. Like I said, you do that stupid shit where you cut carbs all the way off. If anybody is fatter than me, you should not be eating less than me. All right. If you are, or if you have a goal that you're looking at, you're like, yo, this dude looks great at 15%. And that guy, to get down to 15%, he was eating 2,400 calories. And you're 40% and you're eating 2,300 calories. What the fuck are you doing? You see what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to starve yourself and then you can't maintain a deficit and then you binge and you're like, oh my God, what happened? Listen, to gain 100 pounds, which is what most people do after high school, it's basically the most common thing to do after high school. It's the most common pastime to gain 100 pounds. That's like the most common pastime I've seen, right? The drinking the liquor, the eating the pizza, it adds up. You have to consume 350,000 to 380,000 calories more than your maintenance, right? And I mean, if you do that over 100 weeks or 10 years or whatever, it may not seem like a lot. All right. It may not seem like a lot, but it is a lot. And it really, if you're gaining 1 pound per week, you're literally eating at 500 maintenance. But since it takes you guys like 10 years, like I said, then that means you're gaining about 1 pound per month, which means you are eating 250 extra calories, right? So you're eating an extra Snickers or a Snickers above your maintenance, right? So, and as you add fat, it's easier to add more fat because your insulin resistance goes down, right? And you have more estrogen, right? And you have less testosterone, so it's gonna be easier to gain fat as you get more and more and more and more fat. So that is what is happening, and that's the most common thing that happens. But just look how much you have to actually eat over your maintenance. That's why I say, like, if I have a 10,000 calorie day on like a cheat day, first of all, it's gonna be metabolized differently because I'm gonna be leaner. But that's still not going to put me at overall maintenance if you average out my past couple of years, right? I'll still be way below my overall maintenance. You see what I'm saying? But for a lot of you guys who already, gained 100 pounds, if you have a cheat day, then it's just going to be back to your square one. That's basically what you're eating every day to get to where you are. You see what I'm saying? So, listen, a lot of you guys, you lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, mostly water weight, obviously, and mostly muscle glycogen, right? And if you guys go too aggressive and do cardio, it's going to be some muscle as well. But then you guys are like, dang, this is not sustainable because you're doing 2 hours of cardio a day. You're barely eating, right? Or you're water fasting. That's not going to be sustainable. So as soon as you eat all the food in one day, or you eat regular in one day, or you go back to eating what you're eating in one day, your water retention is going to go up. Your muscle glycogen will get filled back up, and that'll be 10 pounds right there. And you'll be like, oh my God, I gained so much weight. But it's really just water weight, like I said. All right, so like I said, mistake number one. There's gonna be three mistakes in this video. This is mistake number one. It's gonna be over restricting. You do the over restricting shit. You cut the salt. You cut the sugar. Shit that I never do. A lot of you guys are like, no, sugar's bad. Listen, you're 25% body fat, telling me that sugar's bad. My friends that are 7 to 10% body fat, me, my brothers, all of us, we eat fucking sugar. Guess what? We're not eating candy 24/7. Now, if we did eat candy, it'd be before a workout or some shit like that. But most of us, we don't eat candy before workout. But anyways, we're still eating bread, rice, potatoes, right? That has some sugar in it, but I'm still eating fruits and shit like that. All right. And because we don't have insulin resistance, because we're at a leaner body fat percentage, we're gonna be fine. The issue with sugar is when you have insulin resistance because you've been eating too much sugar. And then you keep adding sugar. You're not going to digest it and you're not going to be able to break it down. Then you're going to get into the area where you have type 2 diabetes. Now you need metformin. Now you need some Humalog, right? And then after that, it gets even worse. So now you need some Novolin because you never address the main problem. That's where the issue comes in. So stop saying, "Oh my God, sugar's bad for you," when you're fat as shit. That doesn't make any. You don't know what you're talking about. Just shut up. All right, just shut up. Now, you cut entire food groups. That's another issue. People will be like, "Oh, I'm going." Like I said, the no carb shit is the most common one because you will lose weight the fastest, right? That just has nothing to do with body game. Has nothing to do with being aesthetic. Losing weight fast has nothing to do with being aesthetic. All right. Matter of fact, it can do the. I mean, it probably does. It's probably it gives you more of the opposite effect. Like you don't want to look like that. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna look flat because you're gonna lose a lot of muscle glycogen. So the weight's going down on the scale. You're losing muscle. You're losing water. You're not losing fat. All right. Quality over quantity. So stop being dumb and thinking like, nah, bro, but I lost 20. A lot of people will comment, they'll be like, don't listen to this guy, bro. Just hop on keto and like, bro, I lost 30 pounds in like, 4 weeks. First of all, how fat do you have to be to lose weight that fast in general? And second of all, that's muscle and that's water and that's muscle glycogen. That's not a good thing. It's not a good look. Your metabolism slow down, body composition is going to suffer. You might have saggy skin. All right. A lot of you guys fast and you binge, like I said earlier. That's probably the most common thing. And then you guys think of solution as a fad diet or fasting. Listen, calorie deficit, calorie deficit, calorie deficit, calorie deficit. If someone's like 5% body fat, they're like, yeah, man, I fast, but I just do that because I don't have a lot of calories to work with since since I'm always in a deficit or I'm at maintenance. Okay, that would make sense. People aren't saying, yo, like, I was eating in a surplus and then I started fasting and eating in a surplus and now I lost all the weight. People aren't saying that shit because they know that calorie deficit is the most important factor. All right, fix number one. You must first realize that you're eating 4K plus calories, right, to get to where you are. All right, to get to 40%, you're eating 4K to 5K plus calories. The long term solution requires long term thinking, which means, okay, I need to think like a lean person, eat like a lean person, surround myself with lean foods, right? And like I said, think like the leanest version of myself, not the fattest version of myself. That's where you start. All right, that's where you start. Knows every lean person eats more than you do when you cut. That's an issue. Like I said earlier, if like a lot of you guys, when I say, yeah, man, at the end of my cut, I was eating about 1900 to 2100, but that's because my cardio was low as shit. You guys have 10 times my NEAT and 10 times my fat percentage. Well, not 10 times, like 3 times my body fat percentage, but you guys are doing less calories than I am or I was at the end of my cut. And I'm like, why? Because you simply don't understand that you were eating 4,000 calories before you started your cut. Then when you start tracking, you panic. Everything scares the shit out of you. All right. Mistake number two, under eating protein. Of course, crumble. Listen, crumble cheat day. This is off topic, but crumble cheat day is coming when I come back to the States. All right. I'm going to show you how much you can eat when you're lean and not get fat as shit because I rarely eat like that. Simple shit. But this is most people's like daily, like, you know what I mean? Daily calories. Whether they get it from fried chicken, glizzies, whatever the fuck they're eating. Like some sweets from the gas station when no one's looking. Niggas do that shit. That's how they get fat as shit. All right. Anyways, men eating under 100 grams of protein per day, they lose muscle while dieting, specifically because most men are like 200 plus, especially when you're out of shape, which means you usually have at least 150-ish of lean body mass, 130-ish, somewhere in that range, right? And you want to have at least 1 gram per pound lean body mass, right? And then protein is going to help with satiety, muscle retention, and aesthetics, which is our goal. Like I said, quality over quantity. We're not focused on weight loss, focused on fat loss and muscle retention. Huge difference. Huge difference. Fix number two is going to start with your grocery. All right. Like for most of you guys, if I go to your house, I'm like, okay, let me stay here for a week and see if I can eat lean. I'm gonna have to like order Chipotle every day or some shit because there's nothing healthy in the house. It's literally like if I want to get protein and I open the cupboard, I'm looking for protein bars. I see Nature Valley bars, Nutri-Grain bars, Pop Tarts, and probably Cheetos. All right, that's probably what's in there. And then I'm like, okay, what's up the top shelf? And then there's some, oatmeal cream pies. Pause. And then you guys have some Reese's Puff cereal and shit. And then I go in the freezer. I'm like, yeah, maybe they got some chicken in the freezer. There's like some DiGiorno, and then there's ice cream. Then I'm like, okay, let me go in the fridge. A bunch of liquor, expired eggs, and then expired cheese. So I really can't do anything, all right? And then expired yogurt as well. And then some leftovers from the day before, maybe some Chinese food. That's what's in most people's fridge, freezers, all that shit. All right. Now, If you have cookies, chips, ice cream, beer, and pizza available in your home, how do you expect to hit your protein goals? So you need to change what you buy, because when you change what you buy and you bring it home, guess what you're going to be surrounded with? The things that you need to eat. I know that sounds simple, but most people don't even use a grocery list going to a grocery store, which is absolutely diabolical. I would never step into a grocery store without a grocery list. All right. Now, if I show up to the grocery store without a grocery list, I'll sit in the car and make a grocery list and then go inside. All right, simple. Another thing, the weekends fix everything. I mean, ruin everything for you guys. A lot of you guys have, a lot of you guys have Monday through Friday. You guys have a deficit, and then Saturday and Sunday. Damn it! I said I was gonna put a visual here so you guys could see this shit, because there was a visual that I had. There was a visual that changed my mindset on it. Now I was already relatively lean, but there was a visual, and I had bro. I had it, bro. Fucking screenshotted that shit on my phone. Anyways, there was a visual that I had, and um, it kind of showed like how much you eat during the week and then how the weekend offsets it. But then there was another visual I had about glycogen. Man, that shit was fucking fire. I should have had that. But like glycogen and water weight and stuff like that. So that kind of affects you as well. Because a lot of times, you do good on the weekday deficits, and then the weekend binge, it erases everything because you ate too much on the weekend. But then you step on the scale and you're like more than your starting weight. A lot of that's water weight and sodium, but that discourages you enough to keep spiraling to the point where you get fat as shit. So if you get lean, you can do planned meals or like plan cheat meals or whatever in accountability. But if you're not lean, then just keep eating the same fucking thing. Listen, this is my favorite thing to say. Weekends happen every fucking week. All right, why are you celebrating that shit? They happen every week. If you eat like shit every weekend, holiday, and birthday, you're gonna be cooked. I had a friend, and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta get lean." I was like, "Bro, stop drinking at people's birthdays," because he had hella friends. So every fucking week it would be like, oh, someone's birthday. Like 2 3 times a week it'd be like someone's birthday, and it would even be on the weekend. So he's celebrating birthdays and then he's hanging out with friends on the weekends. Like, you're not getting lean like that, bro. You're not getting lean. You're drinking too much liquor. You're not tracking enough. You're not getting lean like that. So stop treating holidays and weekends like they're special or some shit. And you rewarding yourself by eating. That is the weirdest shit of all time. Why don't you reward yourself by actually taking care of yourself? If you reward yourself by eating like shit and drinking liquor, that means you hate yourself so much that to celebrate, you poison yourself. It makes no fucking sense. Think about it. Results don't care, by the way, if it's a weekday or weekend. It literally doesn't know. Like, results look at you and they're like, okay, is this nigga locked in or not? Oh, he's not. Okay, he's not getting results. That's how they look at it. But you guys are like, oh, I deserve it. Stupid shit. Link is in the description for coaching if you're locked in and you're serious.